your blog and I was impressed with the work that you have done. So yeah, I prepared a few questions.
Okay.
As an interview. I'm gonna go straight to it. So, so question number one, that many people are bothered when they receive criticism, but you don't seem to be bothered at all. Like,
do I look bothered?
Point of view. So and today I'm meeting you in person, and yeah, I can also get that impression. Yeah. How do you keep your sense of humor despite some occasional attack?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, I've won many awards and been recognized in so many ways. So first of all, I can just think about those things. Second thing is when I hear this kind of criticism, I look at the critics as angry, unpaid consultants. They help my work. They may think that they're hurting my work, but they help my work. So for example, as you said, you've read some of the things that I've written. I'm a columnist with the Korea Times and blogger. In those cases, when I hear this kind of criticism, they are giving me material for my articles. They're giving me things to think about and to analyze. So actually, they are a bonus in my life. They bring me great value, even though they want to destroy me. So that's the first thing. It's actually part of my work as a writer. Second, I am a public speaker. So these critics give me the chance to think about things before I'm in front of an audience. So an audience, I never know what they're going to ask. But the reality is that they are not rude. Most people in person are not going to be rude. They're going to ask you, good questions, but they're not going to be rude. On the other hand, the trolls and the critics will say anything. So they make me think about the extreme questions that I need to be able to address. So I am so happy when I read the negative things because it gives me something to think about. And then the third thing is my work here at Freedom Speakers International. So we've empowered about 500 North Korean refugees with public speaking, English, and career development. Trolls and the critics have helped our work here. They've given us things to think about. They've given us warnings, letting us know some of the things that people say about us. When I hear the kind of negative chatter, the first day, I'll admit it, I get angry. I talk about their mothers. I talk about all kinds of things, how crazy and stupid they are. And then the next day, I look at what they said and I reflect on it. And in many cases, they've actually brought something from inside of me that I didn't know was there and helped us develop this organization and this program. So that's why, when I'm on stage, I think about them and that they made me think about things and made me develop.
That is I see this is a very good approach of you, like how you see negative as an opportunity to improve, right? To develop and probably your inner power to change negative into positive, which is, I think.
Right. Well, I'll say this. So before I did this kind of work, actually, I've had my own businesses. I've been a speaker and done all kinds of other things. If you're someone in business, you cannot ignore criticism.
Sure.
I mean, you need to pay attention to what your customers are saying, what your competitors are saying. So even though we're not in the business world, we need to have that kind of mindset. Where we're not afraid of something that people say.
Yeah. So the next question is, can you share a particular memorable choice, comment, and how you turn it into a positive?
It's so many cases.
Just give me a solid
example.
Okay,
all right. I'll give you one that's happening right now. Once people found out that I graduated from Harvard, oh my goodness, all kinds of birds chirping in my ear. They were just like making these negative comments. And then one lady said, oh, he thinks he's Captain Harvard. And at first I was like, you know what? That's really stupid. But then I thought about it. Is that supposed to be an insult that I'm connected with Harvard? So I began to think, instead of being angry at what she said, let me do something with this. So Harvard actually has been emailing me for quite a while, for years, please donate this and that. Would you like to join this event? One of the critics made a negative comment, and the same day I got an email from Harvard inviting me to give a speech. I'm in Korea. Should I go to Harvard to give a speech? And I decided, you know what? Let me talk with co-founder Eun-gu Lee, because she controls the budget. Let me talk with her and see, is this something we can do? So I ended up going. And from that point, I started thinking, let me try to do something more serious with this, not just like a one-time event. I've now given 19 speeches at Harvard. FSI hosted a conference at Harvard. We've taken North Korean refugees to Harvard. We're going to be having several events coming up soon where we have North Korean refugees giving talks at Harvard. I'm going to have a tour across Florida with Harvard Club. So many things are going on. And that came about because of a critic. Well, critics actually making these little negative comments, thinking they're hurting me, but instead they're making me think, why would they say this kind of thing? Maybe there's some power behind me being connected with Harvard. So why don't I just go ahead and investigate this? I mean, there's a range of things. First of all, you've got people who are angry at everything and everybody. Then you got people who are just jealous. Oh, yeah. Then you got people who, when they see me having fun and enjoying what I'm doing, they don't feel good. You know, actually there's a Korean saying, when my brother-in-law buys a house, I get a stomach ache. So there's this feeling for some people when someone else is having success or even enjoying themselves that they don't feel good. So there are a variety of reasons, but I don't worry about them. So if they are going to be negative about somebody else's joy, then you know they're never going to be happy. So I just do my own work.
Up to the next question, what is the most outstanding conspiracy theory that you have ever heard about?
Okay.
Freedom Speaker International, and how did you react?
Yeah, I mean, so many cases. But first of all, the first one that I heard is that I'm a CIA agent.
CIA?
CIA.
Like from the US?
Yes, exactly. I'm a CIA agent. And at first when I heard it, I'm like, oh my God, how can anybody say something so stupid like that? I'm doing like some nice work. But then I thought about it. The CIA would be so angry if they heard that my work as a volunteer reached the level of the CIA. What a compliment for them to say that kind of thing about me. But then I thought a little more deeply. I read that they're saying I'm brainwashing North Korean refugees. Oh, yeah. When I heard I'm brainwashing North Korean refugees, again, what a compliment. These people who escaped from North Korea at the threat of death, they have to go across several countries, they make it to South Korea, and then they meet me, and they can meet volunteers, and for that, they're gonna obey and listen to everything I say. I mean, it was just like so stupid. But again, I thought, okay, they're saying it, so what can I do? Well, I talked with Eungu and said, I want to do something about this. And the thing is, let's start to have an English speech contest so North Korean refugees can give original speeches in English, but it's based on what they think, not what I think. I mean, I've never been to North Korea. How can I tell anybody else what to say? But let's create a contest and a public speaking program. So we met with North Korean refugees, we talked about it, we got input on what they thought about it, and they were like, this sounds great. So we had our first contest in February 2015. Last year, we had our 18th contest. And soon we're going to be having our 19th English speech contest. So these trolls with their stupid ideas, brainwashing, CIA, they inspired me to create something brand new that is now, again, 18 speech contests. We've now published books by North Korean refugees. We've had speakers all over the world give talks. So it's been a great thing. And I really have to say to the critics, thank you for the inspiration. Without you, we might not have ever started this.
I have another question.
Okay.
Have you ever been a piece of short advice that you actually found useful or at least have sort of impact?
Oh yeah, so many. But actually, I talked about this in the piece, The Trolls Fed Me. And just to explain, I said that because usually people say on the internet, don't feed the trolls. You know, don't give them anything because you will give them energy. But in my case, they feed me. So it's been great with them out there. One very specific example is that after Eungu and I started this little project, it was just volunteer, I started hearing people saying, you know, I don't know what they're doing with the money. You know, you got to be very careful. Well, at that point, we had no money. Okay? Eungu and I actually put the money in at the beginning. When we had our first speech contest, I loaned FSI 3 million won thinking I would never see it again. Because, we had nothing at that point. When we needed to move into an office, Eungu loaned FSI 10 million won. I was mandated by the South Korean government to be employed by FSI. So then FSI had to pay me a salary. Before then, it was like a side thing. So the first year, 56% of my salary had to be donated to FSI because otherwise we could not survive as an organization. And the salary was low, by the way. But so I'm hearing this, but I know what we're doing and the reality of our situation. Okay, so I can get angry, I can argue with them, and I can try to prove it. Instead of trying to prove it to them, let's build something. We became an official organization authorized by the Seoul City government. So of course they investigated us. They wanted to check all of our records, which we almost had nothing at that point. Key thing is that we need to become an official organization at the highest level. And that means becoming incorporated by the Ministry of Unification. That is as high as you can go in South Korea. And that level of transparency, that means the South Korean tax office investigates you. That means that the Mapo district tax office investigates you. That means that the Ministry of Finance investigates you. That means you have to have an outside auditor. So we have all of these checks on us. And then internally, our staff knows they're always going to be checked by these other organizations, by the government. And then our partner organizations, they don't want to be caught up in a scandal. So they check our records also. Like the Korea Hana Foundation, it's a government agency. They don't want to hear that FSI, that people are stealing the money. They check us also. All of these organizations and government are investigating us. If a troll says, well, I don't know about the money. Well, I say, you know what? Report us to the tax office. If you think we're doing something wrong, report us. They will tell you that they've already investigated us. So the trolls thought that they were harming us, but instead they made me realize we have to take this to a higher level. Look, I've been on the boards of organizations in the USA. I was on the board of trustees of the Frederick Douglass Memorial and Historical Association. I was on a board of directors of 2 different charter schools in Washington, D.C. And I was on the board of directors of the Black Alliance for Educational Options. I know the importance of transparency. I know the importance of having sound accounting. So when the trolls started saying that, I knew we had to kill that. I never argued with them. I never said a thing. But now if they look us up, they'll be, oh, wow, they're at that high level. Now, they're so unprofessional that they can just say anything. Okay? But anybody who's professional will know what we have to go through in order to prove ourselves to the government. So the trolls talked about us, they lied about us, but they gave us the inspiration to go to the highest level possible. You can never be afraid. If you are the leader of an organization, you cannot be afraid. You have to operate in a way that when people talk about you, that, as I said, the trolls were criticizing us, accusing us. So basically the way I look at it is we built a building with bricks and the comments of trolls are bricks in that building.
I think somehow it's cliche to say, but like in our life, everything happened for a reason.
Right. Well, for me, it's the reality.
Yeah.
So if people are saying it, I can't run away from it. I can't be scared. Just face the reality as it is.
Yeah. So how do you balance responding to choice without feeding into their negativity?
Okay. How do I balance? Sure. But actually, my balance is I don't respond to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I read what they say. I listen to what they say, but I don't respond to them directly. So when I do respond, so for example, if they say something about me on Facebook, I do the little happy smiling emoticon, and that's it. Which probably confuses them more than anything, because I acknowledge that I've seen what they said, but that's it. Now, the common phrase that people say is that they keep receipts. Okay, so I don't quite use that term, but I do remember what people say, and I have 2 bins. One is the garbage bin, and I place the ad hominem attacks, the angry attacks with no logic. That's just in the garbage. That's easy. Okay. Now the other bin is the recycling bin. So I place the stuff that has some possible value, I put it in the recycling bin for future use. People say keep receipts, so I don't so much keep receipts, but I keep things ready to recycle and to use when appropriate. So my balance is, for me, trash, recycling. But I don't bother responding to them. Because actually, in the past, I'll admit, I did respond to some people early on, and they would panic, and oh my God, I can't believe he said this. And then they would get even crazier, but they were not listening. Number two, they were not trying to help. And I knew they were not. So why should I engage with them? Every moment I spend arguing with them is one moment I'm not focused on my own work. Okay? So I have to balance, should I talk with them and try to correct liars and trolls who are never going to listen? Or do I build something? Instead, I build something.
I understand at the first page that you decided not to react. But again, like we are human beings. And how can you stay motivated and not let the troll get into you? Because
okay, if I called you a giraffe, what would be your response to that?
You can say anything you want, and I really can't control you because you also have your own freedom
there you
of
go.
speech.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, that's the point. They can say anything, and I know the reality. If they call me a giraffe, I'll be like, okay. I think I need to get back to work.
Yes.
So for me, well, okay, here's the thing. I used to be a sports reporter in college, and when you talk with athletes, they'll tell you, remember, the main thing is the main thing. If you get off on this other stuff that's not related to your work, then you're going to end up diverting yourself. You're going to end up losing your focus. Now, one of my mentors, a man named Howard Fuller, he's an activist from the 1960s. He would talk about the importance of keep your focus on your mission. That other people will try to divert you. Enemies, jealous people, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, if you've done your work and you've done it well, then it doesn't matter what they say. So, as I said at the beginning, that I've won several awards. Whenever I win one of those awards, I do two things. Number one, I make sure to invite the people around me who've been supporting, the donors, the staff, the volunteers, because in South Korea, I could not do it on my own. The language, the cultural things, financial things, logistics, so many things. I cannot do it on my own. So I make sure the people who are around me are on stage with me. And then number two, I thank the trolls and the critics, because even though I will never invite them, they're there in spirit. All right, they're with me because they helped us get to this point. So I make sure that I don't spend my time on them. Instead, when we are celebrated by organizations or the government, then that's it. That's the validation I need. So the comments that they say, it doesn't mean anything.
I read on the internet, people said that life is about 90% of things happen to us, but 10% is how we decided to react.
In fact, I think that's a key point. So it's not what they say, it's but how you respond.
Yeah.
So you can respond by crying or fighting with them, or you can do something that they cannot refute. You can make something positive out of it. So so that is actually a good quote.
Moving to my final question.
Okay.
Yeah, time flies. Thank you so much for sharing so many details, story, and I love your attitude. Yeah,
Okay.
So
All right,
finally, any parting words for the trolls watching this interview? Because I'm pretty sure that they are.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for the inspiration. You tried to destroy me. You tried to defame me. You spread lies and rumors about me, but I'm stronger than ever. Number two, my organization is stronger than ever. Okay? So what you tried to do did not work. But believe me, I think about you. When we do something great, when we get invited to go speak around the world, I think about the impact you've had. So now, it's hard to talk to such people because they are either anonymous or they've already decided that they hate you and they'll never listen. So all I can say to them is thank you.